Let me go to Evans, a first-time caller out of New Hampshire. Evan, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Jesse,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me?
Loud
How
and
you
clear.
doing? Nice. What do I care about?
What do you care about, Evan?
I care about my family and being accountable to the Holy Spirit, man.
And when you say be accountable to the Holy Spirit, what do you mean?
That means doing the right thing. Doing the right. I'm a Christian. I grew up Christian, and I've had some pretty crazy stuff happen to me in the last 5 years, and just it's all coming back together now. Going back to what I learned growing up and going to church and listening to my parents and everything, and just doing the right thing. So,
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Amazing. And so are you married with kids and everything?
So I'm actually a millennial single dad who had a child out of wedlock
Amazing.
when I was 19. And
Are you white?
Yes.
He white.
Yeah. I'm super white. I grew up in kind of upper middle class. I got 2 brothers. I have really good parents,
Yeah. And so, so when you were younger, you were a Christian, right? At what age did you become a Christian?
I would say, I was baptized when I was a baby in a Protestant Christian parish. Yeah.
And so you've been a Christian since you were a baby.
Yeah. My father was raised Catholic, and my mom grew up Christian. And my grandfather on my mom's side was a Protestant, and I think my father's, parents were Catholic.
And
well,
so
my father turned over to Protestantism when he got a little older because of kind of the dogma and all that stuff, and kept, so.
And did you become a Christian, Evan, by choice or force?
It was just kind of like we just went to church on Sunday mornings, and we sang the hymns and stuff. I'm actually a singer. I'm a musician. I play guitar, piano, and stuff. And my parents both sing and have pretty good ears just off the bat. And so it was just kind of the normal thing that we all did growing up. And I went to Sunday school and saw my friends, and we learned about the Bible, all that stuff. And I look back on it now, and I'm very lucky that I was able to get kind of a very straightforward learning of Christianity. It was good.
And so while growing up, you grew up as a Christian, right?
Yeah.
And so why did you go through so much hell at some point in your life if you were already a Christian?
Yeah, this is crazy. So it's funny. I actually have a bunch of little notes that I wrote down on Word that I'm going to talk about because I'm prepared. So I was just listening to you talking about that guy's speech where he was talking about pornography, like getting into the
George
culture.
Putnam, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, growing up, I remember having Windows 95, like Windows 98. I had these old computers in my house, and my older brother, when we were younger, he kind of corrupted me a little bit with the pornography, and I grew up my whole life kind of getting addicted into porn, and at the same time going to church and like having this dual, doing the wrong thing, and we always had a hard time like going to church. My dad, would be like, "Get in the epic God, we're going to church," kind of a thing,
By force.
And so kind of leading up to there was a period where I didn't go to church too often, but then we ended up going to a non-denominational Christian church that was different from the one I grew up in, where it was just kind of focused on the gospel and like Jesus. And, there was a youth group that I went to and met some awesome people and had some pretty, good, better understandings about it than just from going to Sunday school in my original church. And I got a lot more connected into that. But as I, finished high school and was kind of getting a little older, and I'm right in that, 1993 millennial age where a lot of, kids are super atheist and super, scientific and everything. And I really kind of, believed in a lot of that stuff. I watched a lot of Christopher Hitchens, a lot of those atheists like Richard Dawkins, all those guys, and went down that kind of hole of like that stuff. But after kind of doing a lot of research and, I took a class on world religion and philosophy when I was a senior in high school and like learned about the different religions and how they kind of, some of them cross over with Jesus' message and stuff. But after all that, and meeting my daughter's mother and having, my daughter and everything and going through what I've gone through, I'm actually not with her anymore, but I have full custody of her. She sees her mom every other weekend. And I've kind of gone through a court process the past 2 years, and it's a pretty interesting story. But I'm finally all coming back to, realizing that my parents were right. Like, my dad was right with all this stuff, and listening to you and talk about just doing the right thing, like having good parents and having a good mother and all this kind of stuff.
Have you forgiven your mother
great.
for what she did to you?
Yeah, I would say that I forgive my mother. At this
Did you
point.
go to her and forgive her?
Yeah, there's been a point. I remember when when my daughter was about like a year old. I remember, I had my daughter, and I've been doing all the dad stuff and working full time. And
Did you go to your mother and forgive her for what she did to you?
Yeah.
You told her?
And I said, I remember, I said, Mom, raising Lillian over the past, I don't remember if it was the exact wording, but I remember saying, you guys did so much for me, and I, forgive it. Like, and any of the things.
Hey, Evan.
Go ahead.
Calm down. Did you go to your mother and forgive her for turning you away from your father?
I don't think she turned me away from my father. My mom has always had this thing where she's always been, well, your father, works really hard, and he's, there's been moments where she's kind of vented about my father to me before.
She turned you away from him.
Kind of frustrating.
A
little bit.
She should have never vented to you about your father. That's turning you away from your father.
Yeah.
You're the son of your father. She had no right to do that to you.
Yeah. Exactly. And like, I still
Did you tell her that?
I haven't told her that specifically.
Why not?
Well, so at this point,
hold on, buddy. Hold on, Evan. Hold on. Amazing. Let me go back to Evan. So, Evan.
Hey, I'm still here, man.
I appreciate you too. Why haven't you gone to your mother and forgiven her for turning you away from your father?
So, a little more, I moved away from my parents' house, and I actually live with my daughter's mom's parents.
Right now?
In New Hampshire now.
Beta!
And I've been there for 2 years.
Beta, man!
Well, exactly, but my daughter's always lived in this house, at my daughter's mom's parents' house.
But that's no reason for you to be in there.
Well, so I was working at like a $10 an hour job at the time when I had my daughter.
Two jobs, buddy.
And so basically, I've been working at a retail job for the past 4 years. But the last 2 years I've been living here, and they've been giving me a lot of great help and advice, and I've been saving, and they've been steering me in the right direction since they were single parents when they were younger and had to get out of their situation. And I just got a new sales job on Friday where I'm making a salary now.
Congratulations.
Ever since, I've been listening to you, your Fallen State with, Dan Pena, I've watched that, multiple times, and just multiple different, motivational things have really helped me kind of gather everything together and get this new job. And it all kind of came together at the right moment. Now, my daughter's 6, and I'm on my path to moving out as soon as I can here. And that's what my in-laws, even though I was never married, have kind of helped me do. That's the whole plan that I'm super grateful for it. So
I bet.
It's amazing.
Do their daughter live there too?
Yeah, my daughter lives here too.
No, the father and the mother of the woman that you had the baby with, is she living there?
Stepdad. Yeah.
Your daughter's mother live at that place too, at the same house?
No. So she moved away.
Oh, okay. So let me ask.
Go ahead.
Did you go to your mother and forgive her for turning you away from your father?
No.
Did you go to your father and forgive him for being weak?
Not specifically.
Why not?
Me and my dad have had, just kind of heart-to-heart recently, I guess, about life and work. And, he actually just lost his job a couple months ago, just through a restructure. He's been a national sales guy, a director in that field, in the tech field. And, ever since I've moved out, I've actually kind of distanced myself a little bit from my parents. They still help me watch my daughter sometimes, but, I'm kind of doing my own thing with,
Why have you distanced yourself from your father and mother?
Well, I would say that they have a lot of stuff that they're still working on in terms of, their life and their savings. My father lost his job a couple of years ago, and it took him a good while to get another job, and my mom had to go back to work because she always stayed at home, and she had her own interior design business in our basement that she kind of did on the side.
Why have you distanced yourself from them?
Because it's helped me focus on myself to be able to.
And why couldn't you do that? You're living with another set of parents, right? Your girlfriend parents. Why weren't you able to do that at your parents' house, your own parents' house?
Because the situation at my own parents' house is a little bit more, my younger brother was still living at home, and he's like, kind of a hothead, and at the time was, really like smoking a lot of weed and like doing a bunch of like that, and not respecting my parents, and like, not cleaning up after himself, not doing his dishes, not like being an adult, and ever since I've been here at my, in-laws' house, like I do everything for my daughter. Like I cook, I clean my room, I do all the bathrooms, I make sure I do everything so that when I move out.
Evan, what does that have to do with you and your parents, though? You talk about your brother and your parents. What does that have to do with you and your parents?
Well, I think that my parents just have some qualities to them where they don't like to listen fully and then respond and give an answer. And, they like to just kind of talk over me and tell me what they think is right. And, my mother has never once said to me, like, I'm sorry for, and I don't need her to say.
Your mother didn't say she was sorry for what?
For maybe like lashing out at me or, just treating me unfairly or like acting out in a situation where you don't need to be stressed out and all, just, those womanly things you talk about all the time.
Have you? And why didn't your father protect you from your mother? Why did he stand between the two of you and protect you from all that?
I think he did a lot growing up. Like, my dad definitely, was the kind of guy who would come home from work and, he'd be like, why aren't you doing your homework? And, he would kind of like upend things if it was like kind of a good evening if my mom was home or whatever. And then my dad would come home and he would.
Why didn't your father protect you from your mother?
I think because he's still fighting with his own demons.
Have you forgiven him for not protecting you from her?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, because I haven't gone over and done it yet. Because
why not?
Felt like I guess there's no reason why I haven't. Because I feel like he would, I guess he would understand, but I feel like he would just go, oh, yeah, well, okay, thanks. He just kind of brush it off and kind of do his own thing. Like he wouldn't really like take it as a.
But you don't know that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that. Yeah.
You're prejudging him. You don't know. You have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Are you afraid? Are you afraid to go and forgive him for not protecting you from your mother? Because it sounded like he was a beta male. Beta.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've heard stories of when my mother first met him, how he wasn't really good about saving his money and how she had to help him.
Who told you those stories?
My mom. And
she should not have to. Why did she tell you Why did she tell you those stories? You were a kid. You didn't need to hear that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, man. No, exactly. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, because it's that whole resentment thing that you talked about, where she like resents him for doing all these certain things, and since I'm the one who's here for her to talk about it, she just put it on me, I guess. Yeah.
Amazing. And so why won't you go to your father, and they still live together? They're still together?
Yeah.
Why don't you go to both of them together and let them know you forgive them? Forgive your father for not protecting you from your mother, and forgive your mother for turning you away from your father. That's the only reason you've been weak in life, because she turned you away from him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also see it in myself, too.
Yeah, I hear it in you. That's why you're living with your girlfriend's parents, because you're not an alpha male yet. You're just like your father. You're weak.
Yeah. Well, this new job that I got has been a huge, plus.
But it's more than just about a job. It's about
getting a new job, yeah.
And that's important, because you need to get out of there and be on your own. But
Yeah.
you need to return to your father so you can return to God. Just because they force you to church, you can see that they're just Christian in namesake, but they're not of God.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to church on my own when I was a teenager, and then into my 20s a little bit after.
But that was out of
growing up
guilt.
Yeah. No, it never made any sense. Dude, I love how everybody's calling me weak. I guess I am pretty weak, but at the same time,
It's okay. Hey, Evan.
Yeah.
It's okay to recognize that you're weak, because through admitting to yourself, recognize that you're weak, you shall be made strong. But if you are weak and think that you're strong, you should never be made strong. You should always be weak. We are all weak, man. I was weak, and I'm still weak, but I trust in the Father that He would guide me.
Yeah.
So if people are saying that you're weak, that's fine. Let's laugh about it. No big deal.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, and I know I'm on a good path right now, and so basically, I've made it so that I have my daughter 5 days a week here in my in-laws' house, and I won that case in court where my daughter's mother was trying to move her away to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And so I came out on top there because of my persistence with my lawyer, and there's like a guardian ad litem appointed and everything. I can't really talk too much about it, but
And likewise, you got to fight for your soul return to the Father, man. You need to go, and you're on your way. It sounds like in a physical way, and that's good. But you got to go and overcome your mother, return to your Father, and through Him you return to God, and you and your daughter will have an amazing life, because only love will flow through you, and no anger, no insecurity.
Yeah.
But you got to go and be honest with your parents.
No, I agree. Yeah. And it's like, even though I think they were pretty good compared to most parents out there, and like I'm lucky that
they were no good. They were pretty good physically. They gave you physical stuff, but they did not give you love.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess my main thing, was like, I got a new job, and I want to shout out to anybody who's working a retail job who doesn't think that they can get out there, trim up their resume, sleep well a couple of days, get a good interview, and just get out there and try to like get a better situation for yourself.
That's right. And you're 26, right?
Yeah.
So, Evan, you got to go and face your parents so that God can forgive you for resenting them for what they did to you.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just provide for the kids physically. They need you spiritually, because we are a spirit, and they are pleasing the body, but not the soul. Your soul needs to be relaxed, to have peace. And you're not going to have it until you go and face your parents and forgive them. Be honest with them. And then you can love them in the right way. It doesn't mean you got to hang out with them if you don't want to, or stay there. But you got, in order to have peace and become a son of God, you must go and forgive. Your father is a beta male, based on what you said, and your mother turned you away from him, and you need to let them know that happened. Your mother already know anyway. But and forgive them. Forgive your father for not protecting you. He didn't know. He couldn't help it. His mother did that to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And forcing you to church was not the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a good example was the answer.
Yeah. And at some point I'll have to, also do the forgiveness of my in-laws as well, because I've been here for like 2 years.
What?
Once, yeah.
So they put the daughter out and allowed you to move in. Amazing.
Yeah, because I'm.
And they put the daughter out because the daughter hate them.
So you don't even want to know, man, about my daughter's mom. You don't want to know what happened.
She hate the parents. Whatever she's done is because she hate her mother and longing for a father.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But, my daughter goes to the elementary school here, and it's a really good school system. And so that's kind of been our main focus, is that staying in this town.
The primary focus should be, the primary focus should be you becoming a perfect example for your daughter. She needs to experience love from you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. No, you're right.
Because if you don't forgive, Yes, you may provide a good physical life for her, good schools, quote unquote, a nice home, quote unquote, but she's still going to grow up rebelling against you because she's going to look for love of a father.
Yeah.
And right now, you don't have the love because you don't love your earthly father. You don't have the love to give to your daughter. You just have emotional love, which is of your mother, and that's not love.
No, it's good, man. I appreciate it.
Will you go and
I was just working.
will you go and deal with them?
Yeah, I will. I'm actually going to be seeing it. Like I was there yesterday because they only live about 45 minutes away.
And don't plan what you're going to say. Don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Just let them know what they did. Let your father know. She turned me away from you because you were weak and she hated you. She caused me to hate you too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Listen to the conspiracy guy was pretty hilarious. The flat earth too. And Mormon Mitt, man. Like he was governor of Massachusetts, and my dad was all about like Romney, blah blah. But dude, that guy, he believes that Joseph Smith found the golden plates.
Amazing,
it's crazy.
So Evan, go and do it when you see you need to, man, because your daughter needs you to be a father, not a mother to her.
Yeah.
Boys and girls need a father's love after the age of 3. They don't need a mama's love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to hear that, even though the job is good and I'm planning on moving out, doing my own thing with the education of my daughter, all that's good. But the main thing is, being a good example for her and getting out. Yeah.
All right.
Forgiving my parents.
And congratulations on the job. And I'm glad to hear you're doing those things. They're important as well. But the spirit is more important than anything physically. And once you return to the Father, it's up to you to believe me, but God will make a way, man. It's going to be amazing what happened because now you want to do right. You want to be right and you want to do right. Yeah. And that's all he needs from you. So now you got to go and forgive so he can draw you in.
Yeah.
All right.
Amazing.
Amazing. Call me again, Evan. I wish you well, man.
Thank you. I wish you well as well, Jesse. I've been watching you for a good 6 months now, man, and I support you. I watch all your channels. I subscribe. I ring the bell.
Thank you for doing that. And I can tell I can tell you really want what's right. And so that's why I'm trying to encourage you to go and forgive. Don't pretend your folks were good people when they really were not. You can appreciate what they did for you, that they took care of you, they put clothes and food for you, provided for you, but it's the spirit that you needed, and your father did not provide that because he didn't have it.
Yeah.
And your mother didn't have it either. Otherwise, she would not have turned you away from your father.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a truth. It's just a truth. I just got to accept it, man. It's not personal or anything.
No, it's not personal.
Yeah.
And that's why your other brother is rebelling because he hates them too. Your mother has done the same thing to him. And the father is not strong enough to protect him from the mother because he's married to his mama.
Yeah, yeah. And to my older brother, he's got, my older brother is actually addicted to, he was a heroin addict in high school while he was only a couple of years older than me. But he's been clean sober for almost 7 years now. And, that just kind of threw my family through a loop too.
If they had taken responsibility for that, let's say the mother said, "You know what, son, I'm sorry. I turned you away from your father. You're unhappy. That's why you're doing the drugs." They would not have been thrown for a loop.
Yeah. Yeah. But at this point, though, we're all in a pretty good spot. And then it's this is the moment where there's a time now where we got to flesh out the spirit.
That's right.
Stuff too.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
let me know.
He's sober.
Amazing. Let me know how it goes, Evan, all right?
All right, man. Thanks, Jesse. I'll call back, man.
And congratulations on the job and everything, man. Good thing.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Dude, Trump 2020?
For sure. The Great White Hope. Thank you, Evan. All right, buddy.
I see you.
Bye. Amazing. You got to get in there, folks. That's why you got to know yourself. Physical things are not going to make you spiritually well. They're not going to return you to the Father. Remember the rich young ruler in the Bible? The Bible! When he went over to Christ and said, you know what? I got everything I need. I got money. I live in the hills. I move out of the hood. I like black people. I'm all that. What can I do to follow you, Christ? Christ said, oh, that's pretty cool, buddy. Sell everything and follow me. And the young ruler, he was white. He said, sorry, bud, I can't do that. And he walked away. He put his soul, he put physical things over the soul. If you get the soul right, return to the Father, the physical things will come. And they will be secondary. It will be a tool in your life, but not your salvation. Really, not your life. You can take it or leave it. Just FYI.